going to show here today a little bit how to use Audacity. And it's not a difficult program, so stay tuned. We're going to show you all there is to know about what you need to do to be a published author. Hello everyone, Sidney St. James, and now we're going to take you to the program Audacity. And as you can see, on the screen here in front of me is the Audacity screen. Once I go out on the internet, I find Audacity. If you can't spell it, or it's not clear enough, it's Audacity. Now, in Audacity, a lot of people call this a very old program. It's not kept up with the modern ways. But in Audacity, I'm going to just show you a bunch of the bells and whistles. Now, this effect button right here. Now, I'm not trying to scare you off from using Audacity in this recording that we're going to be doing today. What I'm trying to say is all of these little different subject matter, normalize, phaser, repair, repeat, reverb, don't worry about them, because I'm going to show you all that you need to know to make you sound good. So let's see here. Let's start off. I've got a little bit right here that I'm going to give you an example of a recording. Now, this is brand new. It's on the screen. Now, you can actually pull up on the side screen your audio that you're going to be narrating from. So we're in this demonstration I'm giving you, we're still talking about editing, but we're talking about in a different sense. So let's just look at a few of the controls that make sense here. And the more you play with it, the more you understand. But over here, right here is the volume. When I start talking in a minute, the waves will follow across the screen. So let's try it right now. If you were to destroy the belief in immortality in mankind, not only love, but every living force on which the continuation of all life in the world depends, would dry up at once. Many people believe that being immortal is a bliss, something that's priceless, something that one would do next to anything for. Would it be bliss to live long enough to see all your loved ones perish? Would it be bliss to wander around the world in loneliness? For every friend you ever made have run out of time to spend with you. Personally, I think not. It's not a bliss. If anything, it's a downright curse. Okay, so we did a little over a minute recording here. You can see the waveforms going across the screen. At the very end, now you may have to take some notes at least to keep up with what I'm talking about, but this whole front end right here, this front end is noise. That's the noise that comes from your computers, the noise in the room, noise of someone walking outside the recording studio, but the basic random noise that's all around. So what we're going to do, I'm going to come in here. If you can see this, I'm going to see my cursor. I'm going to highlight this area right here. Now, that particular area has noise in it, even though you don't see the noise. Now, I can try to make it. You can see right through this area here. That's some noise. So what we'll do is we're going to just catch the noise, effect, right here, noise reduction. You click on that. Now what we're going to do is get our noise profile. We come over here and we get the noise profile. Now, That's just a low-level noise. It just kind of hums in the background. We want the recording to sound really clean when we're through. So then we'll come back to select all. We're going to choose the whole audio that I just recorded. Now we chose it all. We come back to Effect, click on Noise Reduction, and instead of getting the noise profile, which we already got, we're simply going to have, in the noise reduction, we have this set at 16, sensitivity 6.17, and frequency band 6. I'm pretty sure yours is set like that automatically because I don't mess with mine at all, and they seem to work. And at the bottom, have checked off, reduce. Now let's hit OK, and let's watch what happens with this noise. Boom. Now that's been applied to the whole stream of audio. Now the one thing that they ask us to do, now this is so your audio, you can actually turn it in to be recorded. You cannot have more, it has to be less than 1 second is where this has to start, this main talking. So I'm going to click this off all the way to here. Now, if you notice, I'm going to bring my recording, the beginning of my recording will be just short of 1 second, but it has to be solidly short. And then I'll just hit my delete button on my laptop. Boom. Now, let's take a listen. If you were to destroy the belief in immortality in mankind, not only love, but every living force on which the continuation of all life in the world depends would dry up at once. Now I'm going to stop that because we're going to go back to the effects again. But I don't want to change up too much on you, but I do want to do one more thing. I want to come down here to the very end, okay, of our recording. Right there. Now, I'm going to click here. That's the end of our recording. Up here is a little button. Do you see this button right here? Silence audio selection. You can do that on the front too. But what that does, if you notice, right here, there's just a kind of a thick line, which means there's still some noise riding on it. So I'm going to take that noise off. Go there. Click on this right here. Silence audio selection. Now watch what happens to it. Boom. Okay. Now, at the very end, when you send your audio recording, it goes to Audible at Amazon, or it goes to Findaway Voices, or it goes to Apple Audio, or everybody has audio now. It has to meet certain requirements. Now, at the end of your audio, let's just pretend this is chapter 1. We're going to come in here, and from here, we're going to look at where we're at. We're at 1 minute and a half. Okay? So we're going to be, or 60 seconds and a half. So we got to have 61, 62, and 63. So we need somewhere right around here. Let me look. What I'm trying to get at right here is that this section here has to be between 3 and 5 seconds long. Right now, we're at 60.5. So here's 61, 62, 63. So if we go right here and get rid of it right there. Let's hit it, delete again. Now let's take a look, see if we got our 3 seconds. 60 and a half, 61 and a half, 62 and a half, and 63 and a half. So we got our 3 seconds. Now, we've got the formatting down basically on how much that you have to do. So let's back up to the front. I keep grabbing this bar here and holding the mouse button down. Now, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to listen to this one more time. If you were to destroy the belief in immortality in mankind, not only love, but every living force on which the continuation of all life in the world depends would dry up at once. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to select all, okay? Now, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to come back to effects. You're not going to have to remember all these different effects again. Just remember the first one I did was noise reduction. Now, this one is a filter curve. Click on filter curve. Click on manage. Factory presets. The first thing we're going to deal with is bass boost. There, we built our bass. After we selected it all now, it's all selected in the background. And we're going to hit it, and you can watch the waveforms change. Boom. Now, let's go back to effects, back to filter curve, back to manage. This time, on the factory presets, we're going to choose treble boost right there. We're going to do the same thing. Now, effect. So we got our filter curve. We got our noise reduction. Now, this is what radio people do behind the scenes. When you listen to the radio station, I have some people that overdo it, I think, but I used to do it when I used to tweak it up to about a 5. But what it does, it compresses your voice. It makes your voice sound low. But it's a deep voice. It's hard for me to explain it on the microphone right now. But anyhow, you're going to choose compressor, okay? You got everything selected. Effect, compressor. Now, these are numbers that maybe you want to kind of look at where I've got them set. Release time 1.0 second. You can set yours different ways and play with it, or this right here I consider a good setting because it's really worked for me. The attack time I left at a minimum, which is 0.12. Ratio 5:1. The noise floor minus 50 dB. And threshold minus 16 dB. Now, we got that set, so I'm going to click OK. There we go. It's compressed, both the bass and the treble. And one more thing we got to do, because we have to balance this for Audible or whoever else that we're going to send this to. Let's go back. We've done filter curve. We've done noise reduction. We've done our compressor right there. Now, the last thing we want to do is normalize. Now, this is so all the volume doesn't go up and down, and it's very balanced. Now, watch the waveforms in here as I do this. There we go. Now the waveforms are balanced. Now I have a recording that's just about there. Taking this recording, I usually record with a mono. I'm using a stereo microphone, but I'm recording one track. This is the last thing you have to remember now. When you're recording this one track, you need to have 2 tracks in there. That's what I'm talking about, noise. I don't know if you can hear that jet airplane going over my head, but they make enough noise to wake up every frog in the neighborhood. Okay, so let's come in here with it all highlighted. Let's hit Control-D. And now, if you look at the screen, I got another track in there. It's a duplicate. But I have to go to the top track right there, audio track. Click on that. And right down here, make stereo track. Boom. There we go. Now, we've got both tracks. They're both duplicated, both the same volume. They're normalized. We have just the right amount of dead air in here, less than 1 second. At the end, we have 3 to 5 seconds, but we made a little over 3, so we're good. We're in that realm of being okay. And now, let's take a listen. If you were to destroy the belief in immortality in mankind, not only love, but every living force on which the continuation of all life in the world depends would dry up at once. You see how much deeper it is? The voice sounds good. Now, I do a lot of narration for other people, but I have a southern voice. There's nothing I can do about my accent and how I talk. So if I just heard myself talk, but a lot of people like that. Now, if you want to be a narrator, if that's something that you find out after you do your first book, then put your name in, and you can get other people that would hire you by the sound of your voice to do a narration for you. It's good. Now, this whole thing will be accepted by the publisher. So when you turn in your ebook and you turn in your paperback, you also turn in your audiobook, and all three of them will meet all the necessary format requirements, and all three of them will get published with no problem. So that's going to bring us to the end of how to use Audacity. And if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below, because I read those questions. And if you have anything else that you want me to talk about in Audacity that maybe I didn't cover, well, let me know that too. And if you hit like, I'd appreciate it. And subscribe to my channel, because coming up around the corner, we're really going to be talking about putting our books out into the marketplace, along with how to do marketing. As always, episode 5, finalizing audio. Okay, good enough. Now the bit rate is set to constant right here. I don't know if you can see it on your screen. Let's move it up a little bit. Constant. Quality 192,000 kps. Joint stereo. And we're going to click save. Now what that brings up to us now on the window, this happens to be just left over, but I'm going to show you what we're going to do. You're going to put your name here where Sidney St. James is. Under track title, you'll just change that to Season 5, Episode 5, Audio of Audacity. My album is Sidney St. James Show. 2023 is the year. Now, this happened to be a Christian podcast that I did, but we're going to call the genre here Video Podcast Audacity. And then right here, this is kind of like a tagline. Anything that you want, so people, when they're searching, they can find it. So I'm just going to leave this here, Sidney St. James. Let's take off that. Podcast show, Christian. You can actually put YouTube, because that's where we're going with it eventually. So now I have this is the properties of this file. And I'm going to say OK. Boom. Now, we are done. We have edited this thing. We have saved it. But there's a few notes that this is like bonus tips. We're not really going to record this at all, but in here, in your audio that you're doing, let's listen to this again. In immortality in mankind, not. Now, right here, you heard me take a breath, like that. Now, what you can do, you can come in here and you can highlight this. I'll tell you what's even better. See these two things here, the plus and the minus? You hit the plus, you give yourself a little more room. And now you can see it better. So now I got that, and I'll go back to the trusty silence audio. No noise. This is all noise in here. So if I want to really, really clean it up, I'm going to clean it up. Now, where you want to use this at, when you're doing this, you'll give a sample of your book. That's like 3 minutes long. This is where you take the time to go in there and really clean that thing up. Because this is what people are going to be listening to, but you really don't have time to do this. Like, most of my books are anywhere from 10 to 12 hours of recording. And when you hear people say, when you read all over the internet, this is something interesting. They recommend that you go into a closet. When I first started, I did what they recommended. I took my laptop into a closet, got me a little light, closed the door amongst all the clothes in there. I got sopping wet with sweat. It's easier said than done. Let's put it that way. And because we have the technique to get rid of the noise in your little room, to like where I'm at right now, then you don't need to stay in a hot closet for 10 to 12 hours. I scoot along here. It's not a lot of noise, but you look around, maybe right in it over here. Let's go over here and look. Right there. We're going to take that out. Come up here, silence it. Boom. Now, we've got us a nice, clean recording here. So, I think that's it. I just wanted to show you those extra tips. So I hope you enjoyed this broadcast, and I'll see you around the corner.